The average household throws away 25% of the food that they buy. That's like walking out of the grocery store and dropping 1 out of every 4 bags you're carrying right into the parking lot. That's not okay, especially in today's high-cost world. So today I want to talk to you about pantry expansion. No, I don't mean building a larger pantry. I mean extending the life of your food through proper processing, freezing, and inventory management. Hi everyone, it's Audrey, and I'm back with another subscriber request video. And in this episode, we're back in the kitchen. I feel like I've covered lots of aspects of our kitchen, but it's a topic that really never has an end because it's such a big job. There are so many aspects to it and so much to manage. There's always something new to learn. So let's dive right in. Food goes bad because it's raw inventory. Raw inventory is high maintenance. In order to survive, raw inventory either has to be consumed or converted. It needs to be processed. So I'll just give you some tips to make sure you're properly managing this raw inventory. Are you familiar with my 6-10 list? And keep in mind, if you say no, you will hurt my feelings. Just in case I have some new watchers for today's video, I'll explain it really quickly. My 6-10 list is my super easy cleaning schedule. It's focused on high impact, low effort. In the weekly section, also known as the weekly 10, you'll see Tidy Pantry. This is where I go around my pantry and I touch all the ingredients, I wipe up any crumbs. It's like a once-over of the inventory. Remember, we treat our home like a business, so our kitchen is ran like a restaurant kitchen. No successful restaurant runs out of an ingredient or overstocks on another. They keep an accurate inventory of what they have, and that starts with a good once-over. Now, during this once-over, I will be on the lookout for food that has about reached its expiration, like bread that's almost molded or stale, potatoes that have sprouted, even something like rice that's been sitting on the shelf too long. I gather up all the food, and then I begin the process of cooking it. Now, some ingredients I cook plain, others I add into a meal. For instance, rice would be something I would add into a meal and then freeze. But old onions would be just fine, just caramelizing and sticking right in the freezer. You decide what you want to do. Now, it's important to remember you're not just checking the pantry, you're checking the fridge too. But don't worry, this isn't an additional thing you need to remember. The weekly 10 has a task labeled wipe fridge on it, and that's where you'll do your fridge once over. And it's the exact same process. You're touching everything, you're finding the almost rotten or the foods that need used up, corralling them, and then deciding how you want to cook them. If you're unsure on how to cook something, just Google it. We have a treasure trove of information right at our fingertips, so don't be afraid to look it up. Now, you may have noticed that I said touch your ingredients multiple times. That sounds strange, but it's actually vital that you do this. You see, over time, we develop a blindness to our food. It's just like mess blindness in your home. You see that same box of pasta on your shelf for weeks on end, and you become desensitized to it. It happens to me all the time. But by touching it, you're making yourself aware of its existence. So make sure you're touching everything in your pantry, every single thing. The beauty of looking over your pantry and fridge weekly means that you're doing so around grocery day. So knowing what needs used up allows you to properly plan your meals for the week. Again, there's another Google search right there. For example, you have asparagus, Parmesan, and pork chops in the fridge. So you could Google recipes with asparagus, Parmesan cheese, and pork chops, and then create a meal using those items. And get creative. Just because you have old bread in the pantry doesn't mean it has to stay bread. You could turn it into croutons, breadcrumbs, add it to French toast casserole, make garlic bread, and freeze it. Again, if you're stuck, just Google it. What can I do with my old bread? An important question to ask and understand when going through your food is it too far gone? For instance, if you see peppers getting soft, don't be so quick to toss them. Instead, just cook them with some onions and you've reset their expiration clock and you've got a great side dish for fajitas out of it. In order to properly expand your pantry, you're going to have to understand when an ingredient is old and when it's rotten. People see sprouted potatoes and think that you have to toss them. Absolutely not. There's always a line. For instance, there's a difference between slimy vegetables and soft ones. When something is slimy, it's most likely gone bad. If it's soft, it's probably perfectly fine to eat up. Again, Google is your friend here. When you're expanding your pantry, you have 3 options for your food, cooked or raw. You could refrigerate them, freeze them, or serve them right away. Something like lettuce isn't possible to be cooked, so you'll want to serve it right away. I recommend sticking it in my taco salad. Oh, it's so yummy that way, and it will completely hide the discoloration that comes when your lettuce starts to turn. You can find the recipe for my taco salad in the description box of some of my other full-length videos, but I can also share a video posting a ton of different recipes that I use. If you want to see that, comment, share, and I'll create a long video with lots of easy, quick meals. Okay, back to the food. For example, with carrots, you have the option of serving those raw or cooked. So knowing what meals you're making for dinner that week will help you decide that. With your proteins, you could cook them and then freeze them, or you could freeze them raw. Typically, when I'm deciding what I'm going to do, I take a look at the protein itself. Is it lean? Does it have fat? If it's a leaner protein like pork or chicken, I will almost always leave it raw and just process it. Like I'll go ahead and turn it into cutlets, I'll cube it. I'll go ahead and do as much as I can before I freeze it so I save my future self time. If it's a protein with some fat like ground beef, I'll often just go ahead and cook it. Because when you thaw it and reheat it, the fat from the ground beef helps retain some moisture, unlike those leaner proteins. Speaking of moisture though, if I'm making my chicken taco meat, which I do every time I buy chicken breasts because it's so delicious and we use it in a lot of different recipes, then I will go ahead and freeze that once it's cooked because the moisture from the salsa helps the chicken stay moist when it gets reheated. Another example is potatoes. You'll probably hear people say, oh, you can't freeze potatoes because they'll get that weird grainy texture. But as long as you're preparing those potatoes with some fat like butter or cream, the potatoes will not get grainy. Again, I just learned that from a quick Google search one time. The internet is your friend when you're stuck. I mean, once my book gets published, you'll have your own organized chaos manual at your fingertips. But until then, Google is your friend. Now, it's really important once you've expanded your food that you don't forget about it. Freezing items or refrigerating cooked items does not keep them good forever. So you'll still need to keep track of your inventory. It helps a lot if you store foods in a way that's easy to see and access. For the fridge, I recommend my glass storage containers. Super simple. I have some regular ones and then I have some with a separator that are perfect for meal prep. The uniformity of the set of glass containers lends itself to organization and tidiness. You're able to see what you have. The food looks appetizing. I will go ahead and link those in the description box for you guys. For the freezer, I obviously use the snap and lock containers that you guys have seen me put the frozen foods into. But when I'm cooking something, I use Ziploc bags. I also use it when I've processed a protein, even if I haven't cooked it. So like the chicken cutlets, the cubed chicken, I will go ahead, put those in Ziploc bags, lay them all flat to freeze. Once they're frozen flat, I will stick them in my freezer organizer with the dividers. Then when I go to get something out of the freezer, it's basically like pulling files out of a filing cabinet. It makes it so easy to see what you have. I'll link that organizer in the description box as well. And you know I can't talk about saving money and using up your pantry without mentioning overbuying. Please stop buying in bulk. You think it's saving you money, but it's really just costing you. The more you have in your inventory, the more you're stuck managing. There is a such thing as too much. You don't want your pantry to get so overwhelming that it's hard to keep track of everything. Something like toilet paper, I understand buying that in bulk, but pickles, definitely not. Now, along the same lines of overbuying is using up what you have. Typically, the next grocery run after I've expanded my pantry, I will buy less at the grocery store. Why? Because remember, we planned our meals around the foods that needed processed, so we should have chicken and mashed potatoes in the freezer or taco salad in the fridge. Like there's no need to buy more groceries. We now need to use up what we have. I know social media romanticizes things or, makes you think that you need to be doing XYZ, but our goal should be a functional pantry, not a full one. We want to see some emptiness. We don't want to be overwhelmed managing our inventory. Did I do a good job covering this topic? Let me know in the comments. Is there anything I didn't cover that you wish I would have? Remember, if you have requests for videos, let me know in the comments. I try to cover every topic that you guys request, and I will see you all on Friday. Thank you so much for watching.